What's up everybody, welcome back to my channel. Now in this video I'm going to be showing you how we can manage our VirtualBox from our Linux terminal. But before we start, in case you are not subscribed to my channel, please feel free to subscribe, turn on the notifications icon so that you don't miss any of the videos that I'll be uploading. Now if you have installed the latest VirtualBox, by the time of recording this video, the version that I'm using, it is 7.1.4, that is the latest. Now there is a slight bit of a change of the version that I'm running right now on my machine to older versions. I'm going to come here to tools and click to this option. You see that I only have 4 options. We don't have the option for network. This was a bit hectic the first time when I installed this, because it was harder for me to go on and set up networks for these VMs that I do have here. I'm going to click on one network here, and I'm going to come and tap on network. So if we click on network, here in the previous versions we were able to see the adapter 1, adapter 2, adapter 3 and others. But here we only have one option, which is adapter 1. Now in case you do have the same problem like me, this is where the command line is going to help you. Since I'm using Linux, I don't know whether it is the same concept with Windows, but I think it is still the same thing. So I never tried to install this same version on another machine to see whether the problem is universal to the version, but that does not matter if the command line works perfectly. So if we cancel this, now here to manage our VirtualBox from our command line, we are going to use a command which is called VBox manage. So here you are going to just say VBox manage. If we press enter, you see that here we do have a couple of commands that we can use to our disposal to go on and manage our VirtualBox. So I'm going to go on and clear this. Now if we come here to the GUI, you see that here we do have a couple of machines that were installed in our VirtualBox. How can we be able to view the same thing with command line? Now here you are going to just say VBox or VBox manage. Here you are going to say list VM. So if you say list VMs and press enter, here they will list for you the machines that were installed in your VirtualBox. We have here blue, and we also have the UUID. This is your VirtualBox name, and we also have the UUID. Now all of these are very useful because for us to start up our machine, you either need a name or you either need this UUID. So now here I'm going to clear my terminal. We have seen the machines that were created. You see here we have blue, we have Kali Linux, we have client 1, which is still the same thing we see here in our graphical interface. Now I have here a machine which is running, and it is a Windows 10 machine. Now how can we be able to see running machines from the command line? I'm going to go on, clear my terminal. Here you can say VBox manage. Now instead of list VMs, we're going to say running VMs. So if we press enter here, you are going to see that here we have our client 1, that is the VBox or the machine that is running, and here it is client 1. Here we have our client name and we have the UUID. Now here, since you have your machine that is running, we can go on and we either stop this machine by shutting it down, powering it off. We can save its state. You can do any action you want. Now here we can go on and we use the same command, which is VBox manage, but here we can go on and we add on another command, which is the control VM. So we add on the control VM to go on and we remote control the VMs that were already created on our system. So I'm going to come here and say VBox manage. Now here just say control VM. So you should make sure that the control, the C starts with a small letter. So if you say control VM, here you need to provide the name of the VM you want to control. So this one is going to be our client 1. So if you provide the name for the VM, here what do you want to do? Perhaps we want to save the state of this VM, so I'm going to just say save state. So if I press enter, you see that here it is loading starting on 0 to 100. Once it is done, you are going to see that this GUI is going to be closed, and here the status is going to be saved. Now if you try to see, our status is saved and this is successful. Now if we come back and we say list VMs, you see that we don't have any VM which is running compared to when we executed this previously. So here we are going to go on and start up a VM. So to start up a VM here, we are going to say VBox manage and say start VM, and here provided a VM that you want to start. So that VM is going to be client 1. Now if I just say client 1 just like this, they are going to give us the GUI. So if I execute that, you are going to see that we are going to have the graphical interface of our VM and it will be started. Now we can also start up a VM without the GUI. This is going to be headless, similar to our containers like Docker, whereby we shall be able to execute any service and it will be running in the background. So I do have client 2, which is also a Windows machine, and I also have Metasploitable 2, which has a GUI. So I can go on. Let's say I want to start up another VM. So this one is going to be Metasploitable. Let me hope that's spelling. So let me just come up here. I'm going to copy this spelling, come back and paste this. So in case you want to start up any machine without the GUI, here you can just go on and say type. Now with the type, we need this to be headless. So when we say headless, this machine will be started, but we won't have the graphical interface. The way we can remote control this is when we perform our port forwarding, and we shall be able to remote control either via SSH to our main machine. So if I execute this one, you see it has been started, but we don't have the graphical interface. Now if we go back and review our running VMs, you are going to see that we have 2 VMs which are running. So let's go on and stop that. So I'm going to just run the same command again, which is VBox manage control VM, and here we are going to choose our client 1 and we say save state so that we cancel that. And when we come to Metasploitable 2, we can also go on and we power off those machines. So once this one is done, we can proceed with powering off our Metasploitable. So I'm going to go on and clear this. Here we are going to use the same command, but here I'm going to provide the Metasploitable 2 and I'm going to say power off. So when I say power off, the machine is going to be shut down, and if we come back here to running VMs, you see that we don't have any running VM. Now if you remember what I had showed you earlier about the networks, here with client 1 we only have one network address, which is adapter 2. How can we add on another network to our VM from our command line? So simply, this is VirtualBox networking, though I won't be diving deeper into it. I'll be just showing you just a little bit, but in case you want to see more into VirtualBox networking, you can leave a message in the comment section. So now to create up our network, perhaps we want to create up a NATNetwork, we need to create that. Now this is similar to what we have here, where we have a NATNetwork and it is connected to EvoCop. We can connect or create our NATNetwork in our terminal and we can attach that to our VM. So now here we are going to use the same command, which is VBox manage, but now here we need to create up the NATNetwork. So here you are going to say NATNetwork, so that is it. So here you can say NATNetwork add, then the network name, this is where you provide the network name, perhaps here we can use a name. Let's call this Batman. Now here you can provide our IP address or a subnet. So I'm going to change this 5 to 16, whereby it will be 192.168.16.0/24, and we add on enable. So if you need these IPs to be assigned automatically, you need to activate your DHCP. Now here I'm going to add on the DHCP, then DHCP you say on. So if we press enter, our network address has been created. Now if we come back here, perhaps if we want to test this, I'm going to come here to network with a graphical interface. You will see that we shall have our Batman when it is created. So come here to our adapter one, choose NATNetwork, click here. You see that we do have Batman present, but of course this is the GUI. How can we play around this with our command line? So I'm going to cancel this, come back here to our terminal. So how can we view our networks? So here we are going to say VBox manage. With our VBox manage, we are going to say list NATNetworks. Space. With list, we say NAT. List NATNetwork. The sparing. So if we say VBox manage, so here I made up a typo somewhere. VBox manage list NATNetworks. We go on and clear this, press enter. So after clearing our terminal, you see that here I have the DMZ, I have the EvoCorp, and we do have the Batman that we have created. You see even our subnet is there. Our gateway is going to be assigned to 1 because we had said that to be automatically. We know that always our gateway is on 1. So since we have created our NATNetwork, we need to assign it to our machine of client 2. Client 2 only has one adapter, and this is adapter 2, which is connected on just NAT. So either we can connect our network address that we have created there to either adapter 1, adapter 3, adapter 4, to any you want. So this is where we can go on and we use our VBox manage control. Now we used the control. Here we are going to be using the modify because we are changing content on our virtual machine. We are going to modify our machine. So here you can just come here to modify VM. So here, if you are to modify the VM, you need to provide which VM are you trying to modify. So this one's going to be our client -2. Let's check if it's the same spelling. So client -2, and what do we need to do here? We need to set our NIC, which is the network interface card. And which NIC do we want to set? We are going to provide NIC 3, so that is the interface card. So since here I have 2, I only need to set it to 3. So after getting our NIC, we need to provide our NATNetwork. So here you are going to send NATNetwork because I want to use the NATNetwork that we had created earlier. So after setting our NATNetwork, here we need to provide it or set it to also an interface. So this is where we are going to say -net dot, so it is not net network, and here we provide a 3 since I'm assigning this to the network interface, so 3. And after, you are going to provide the name of the NATNetwork you are trying to assign to our address of 3. So this is going to be our Batman. Once you're done, press enter. Now if we come back here, I don't know if you noticed, but here our Batman has been assigned to this network here. So since you have assigned the network, you can go on and start up this Batman. So here simply you can just use the same commands. You can proceed with deleting and also removing the interfaces from our VMs here. So in case you want to see more information about that VM, because here you see we are only looking at this with the command line. So now here we are going to say VBox manage. Now we are going to say show VM info, and provide the VM that you want to view about. So if you press enter, they will give you more information about that VM in your command line. We see this one in a group. We see this is a Windows 10, the guest OS, the locations. You can see the RAM, the VRAM size is there, but if you go down further, and if we come to NIC 1, you see that this one is disenabled. NIC 2, it has a MAC address. For those of you who know address, you know its purpose, and it is on NAT. But if we come to our NIC 3, it has a different MAC address which is different from that one, and this one is connected to NATNetwork, and the interface is Batman. You see that here in a few minutes we've managed to play around with our VirtualBox in our command line. So the use or playing around or working around with our VirtualBox in command line is unlimited. Here I just showed you a glimpse of how you can do it. Now here you can go on and do research more about this, but in case you want me to create up a specific or a more detailed tutorial on VirtualBox in our terminal, you can leave a message in the comment section. So once again, in case you ain't subscribed, please feel free to subscribe. Your support is what makes me to create more videos like this. In case you do have any suggestion, you can also send a message or leave it in the comment section. I'll see you in the next video.